All right, let's get into the conversation, shall we? Security consultant, Ambassador Dr. Roy Okhidievbie joins us live this morning on TVC Breakfast. Doctor, good to see you this morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Because you're a military veteran, I wonder, I'm sure you're very safe at this time.
So why did you say good to see you? You didn't expect to see me? Well, it's, I don't want to use the word unfortunate. It's getting so monotonous in my mouth, you know. It's disheartening, okay, to believe in certain things that you have not assessed. So when you want to say, are Nigerians safe or is Nigeria safe? Those are two different things entirely. Because we say, is Nigeria safe? That is the country. Are Nigerians safe? That is the transverse, the daily community activities. Now, first look at the territorial integrity. Now, do we have border control? Are we in charge of those that come in and go out of the country? The egress and the ingress. Now, do we have control of external forces, the illegal immigrants or the legal immigrants that come in to do mining activities without our approval, to take over businesses of Nigerian construction people, oil and gas? Do we have that? Do we have institutions that work? Those institutions that are supposed to curb all the vulnerabilities that bring disparity among the people. The judiciary, does it work? You know, the police service commission, the military, do they work? Are they effective? Are they evenly dispersed? You know, I have a slogan. He said, when the strong are getting stronger and the weak are getting weaker, definitely there is deplorable conditions available.
Yes.
So it's often said that the problem with security in Nigeria is not the security architecture. It is lack of will, or even intentional indifference. What do you say?
Well, I agree with you. I agree with you on this ground that the security architecture is apt. Nigeria have the immigrations to take care of the immigrants. Nigeria have the NDLEA to take care of the drugs. We have the EFCC to take care of the financial crimes. We have the police to communicate around the people against default. We have the defense system. And the defense system has gotten the almighty Tucano. Okay, and just recently the Navy got some battleships and armored vehicles. You know, so we have the right architecture. Then for the will, okay, so we need to design and decide what do you want to use the will for. Who owns the will? In Nigeria now, the people are supposed to own the will, but the government have taken over the will. And unfortunately for the government are always placed in power by peoples that be. And these are the people that decided, that have been decided. But I'm sure 2023 will be different. So when the will is in the hands of the government, they have a say. But right now, the will is not in the hands of the government. The government also consults with the powers that be, the pillars in Nigeria, before they take decisions. Because the government is the judiciary. The government is the executive and the legislation. You know, the government is the executive and the legislation and the disposition of the rule of law. But the constitution in Nigeria is interpreted by whose God is God.
So as the war rages on, whether banditry, whether kidnapping, whether headers conflicts and all of that, do you think the relevance of the government is called into question?
Okay, you are following the line, so I like it. So we are talking about relevance of the government. So the question is, who is the government also? You know, so in Nigeria as we speak, there is political interest, there's ethnic interest, there is religious interest. Okay, these are the three main core disparity. Now, if you look at the implementation of the law, then someone can just come from somewhere and say terrorists are bandits, you know, and everybody will just be articulating the ideas, trying to bring ideas, and you had of another attack somewhere. So we're asking ourselves, we decided they are bandits, but they are saying they are terrorists. So because of this lacuna, the ISWAP through the ISIS, they are holding ground right now. They have gotten opportunity to possess so many of our spaces and beginning to plot all these meaningful and maniac attacks that we are seeing right now.
What we are seeing in Nigeria is a little pathetic. You're given a situation in which you have a car, you have passengers, everybody is ready. The driver is there seated. The key to start the car is there. There's fuel in the car, don't mind the fact that there's fuel scarcity today. The engine is all in good condition, and nobody wants to turn on the ignition. That is what we are, because we have we are supposed to have surveillance. Yet, when the Kaduna the Kaduna Abuja fiasco happened, these people took over 100 people, put them in Okada, and started driving long distance. There was no checkpoint, there was no pursuit, there was no area pursuit. Then it happened in Owo. Owo is relatively a big town in the Nigerian context. I've been there. They go into a church, they massacre human beings, and they leave. If they left by foot, there were forests where you could pursue them. If they left by car, they could be intercepted. If they flew by air, they could be shot down. But whether by air, by road, by bush, we seem not to be there. Yet we have all of the equipment. We have all the soldiers. We have all the security. So what is left?
Okay, so you talked about the car and the will to start the ignition.
Yeah.
Now, if the driver does not have the will to start the ignition, what stops any of the passengers that can drive, that have a driver license, to start the car and move the vehicle? Now, because the people cannot impeach anyone. There were times when I was growing up, I heard that certain persons were impeached, certain persons resigned from office, certain persons were removed from office. You know, there are times that the youth, Nigerian Labour Congress, they used to hold rallies. They used to lock down the city. They were a voice to reckon with. Okay? Later, we started hearing about Ghana must go and compromise. So now, the will is not with the driver, and the people have been compromised. That is the position we found ourselves. So our political elite, instead of bringing forward the educated and the informed, they prefer to bring forward those that they can manipulate and instruct. So if you have this kind of situation, then there is decadence in control. So if you go back to the use of our agencies to curb security, I don't agree that we have the equipment. I don't agree that we have the men. The number of policemen we have today, the deployment of policemen, it's not for the people, okay? If the police is for the people, the nook and crannies where you will see patrol vehicles will not be at Ikoyi, okay? You will not see them so relevant at all those areas where you have the elites. You will definitely see policing where the people need to be secured. You will definitely see the military being deployed to protect the people. Once we have a people-centered government, then all of those things, we need to increase the number of people. At a night time, I was driving. I saw headlocks at bottlenecks. And I asked, where is the last mile people? Where is the traffic warding people? Why are they not on shift? Morning to 2 p.m., 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., 6 p.m. to 9 or 10 p.m. When people are coming from work, the police have left the road. That is the problem.
Yeah, so can I read something to you? We know that insecurity is the state of not being safe or protected, but on a broader and wider perspective, insecurity presupposes a state of general breakdown of law and order, where the citizens of the country are exposed to uncontrollable danger and where they live in fear of what may happen next. Does that paint a picture of where we are now as a nation?
It's worst. Where we are is worst. You see, if you define that, it says that uncontrollable danger. But you'll be shocked to discover that our danger sometimes is weapon of intimidation to opponents. Now, anybody that is in power, that was in power 30 years back, let's look at back 30 years. People intentionally create fuel scarcity. People intentionally create communal clashes. People intentionally bribe hoodlums, go to the forest, bribe the criminal elements among the herders, go and bribe thugs to attack innocent people just to create scenes of insecurity. But they forgot, because when those people were arrested, they intimidate the police, they intimidate the judiciary, and truncate the criminal justice system. So gradually, it became a norm. So if you say we have insecurity because there was breakdown of law and order, we did it intentionally. It was an intentional decapacitation of the police. It was intentional. During the military era, the military refused to fund the police because they were in charge. You carry your cases to the barrack. You know, when the police came on board, unfortunately for them, Nadeko and all those politicians that fought for democracy didn't now believe in the police. You know, so they used their powers to engineer thuggery. So in Nigeria today, every youth wants to be a thug. Every youth wants to be a follower to a godfather, because that is where the trickling of the dividends come from. And it's so unfortunate.
There was a report about the prelate in the East who was abducted, and 100 million naira was paid, you know. And then there was a report yesterday that one of the kidnappers was caught in a bank trying to deposit his loot. And it was not only that the guy was a local, it was also that there are two soldiers who were supposed to be in on this thing. So are we seeing also a security that is also compromised?
The security system we see today is it's a whipping situation. Now look at the recruitment, because before you enter, you must be recruited. Now, in those days, you must qualify to enter, and it was quota system. Now, people refer stooges to recruitment lists, and they tell you this is the list from XYZ person. You know, I was somewhere and they called someone and said, the person you sent to us cannot read and write. The man replied that they should teach him how to read and write. You know, and the criteria is that you can read and write. So in the police force today that you see, the number of people that are in the police force, most of them are there to be groomed for certain people's interests. The military, as we speak, the discipline, the tradition and culture of the military that endeared me towards it, you know, it started its decadence towards the precipice of my service till I left. You know, so right now, the service members that you have realize that those documents they have before them cannot hold water. You cannot even demote your subordinates in the military now. If he has one or two phone calls to make, he will be deployed to somewhere else, or you yourself, you take the
You will be deployed.
You know, so if you now look at the training institutions, sir, the training institutions curriculum has not been upgraded to articulate the dynamics of international security and all the breakouts of our triangles of insecurity in Nigeria, you know, and we have not been able to tackle this thing. Why will someone go to the bank until he is arrested? Are there no moles around a community that's supposed to hear something and say something?
General,
It's the criminals
General
that have
Arabi
that.
Sama once talked about the need to have a command and control center around the country, where you can sit in a room like this and you know where everything is going on. He sent me a video once, a week or so ago, about how you have it in one of the East African countries. I think it's Kenya, if I believe. And you stay there and you know what car is moving, who is going to buy akara, who is crossing the streets, who is pickpocketing, and who is saving somebody's lives, or who is wooing somebody. You have everything on the screen for everybody to see. Why can't we have such a command and control center? If we have a command and control center, for instance, in Kaduna, and it's architected, if you go attack a place, there's somebody who tells you immediately that, look, there's an attack going on, then you can summon security within 30 minutes, and you go after them. Why can't we have them? We can have them in strategic places in the country. Well, every city can even have its own. And then in rural areas, you can have a command and control center situated in strategic areas where you can see as far as possible. Technology has made all of that very easy. Why are we buying Tucanos? Why are we looking for things that we can shoot rather than what we can see?
Well, I designed a system and I gave it for free to the government. And what I saw after I gave that freebie was that they went local and started to put just sensors at entry points. You know, a command and control center is good. You know, people to look at screen, to see something, document it, call someone, go to so and so place, I saw something there. It's good. But how do you deploy the cameras? Most of the challenge is the deployment of cameras, the power system to run the cameras, okay, and the safety of the cameras. So if you use technology, you must use man presence. So what did I design for them? I told them, and I'm saying it again, you can have the toll gates to work, sir. All the toll I pay when I'm passing the toll gate, by the end of the year, October, November, you can give me a 20% interest. You can rebate to me because I paid my toll. I can take my receipts to certain office and get a 20%. It's a reward system. So I'll be interested to do that. What will the money be used for? You can have points there where you have this kind of design that we talk about, because if you have it in the city, sir, the problem is coming from the urban areas. So the toll gates in between Edo State and Delta State, the one between Edo State and Ondo State, you know, the one between Borno State and all those states in the north and all the Bayelsa, you can have these points, build this trajectory there, keep 1 or 2, 3 sets of drones. Those drones, they take off. When they take off, they do their area surveillance, they feed those views that you are talking about, yes, even to areas where you can't fix cameras.
Exactly.
You know, you plot out. I went to Anaheim in California for drone command live training with my own resources. And I came back and I told these guys, you can have 5 drones on a panel like this. One takes off on a sequence. X, Y, Z location, come back for charging. As it's landing, the second one takes off, the same sequence. You will have footages that you don't need to put camera.
You can even have zone. You can even have zone. What happened in?
Let me tell you about one technology. There's a technology that you can deploy also. Even this guy brought it to Nigeria. It can be sensitive enough to have some body languages alerts. So if I'm having a tackle with this guy, and there's a camera here, it sends SMS to some people that there's an unusual situation. Yeah, if I try to remove anything from here, the camera, so it does not need a weak man to look at it, and human body weakness, I can be distracted, I can sleep, and while something is going on. And you know, with recorded scenes of criminal activity in Nigeria, it's also difficult to arrest the culprits, you know, because of our data paucity, our control of human capacity movement. I can travel and my fingerprint is not even showing that.
Dr. Roy, because we are absolutely pressed for time, I wonder what the response of the government was when you made these proposals.
Well, I told you now, all the proposals, there are like, I can pick like 19 private security personnel that have been coming on air to drop some of these things, you know. The proposal will go through different channels, and at the end of the day, you know, somebody will call you and tell you that the man that is supposed to discuss with you is not around, he has traveled, or he's sick, or one thing or the other, until everything goes comatose.
Okay. Yes.
We remember what happened in the case of Amechi versus the vice president over how to approve surveillance system. They were busy debating how to approve the surveillance system when the people struck. It's part of it. There's no sense of urgency.
Even the devices, they go out of vogue.
Yes.
Sometimes they have a counter. You know, if we talk about that kidnap you were talking about now, Evans the kidnapper was one of the person that hyped the amount you can collect from kidnapping. So most of the terrorists who broke out to just go into kidnapping to raise money to buy drugs and weapons.
Revolutionized pricing.
Yes,
That's it.
I was just going to ask you, the churches are becoming very unsafe at the moment. The past 2 weeks or so, we've seen attacks in Ondo and Kaduna consistently, especially in Kaduna State. The schools have been deadly places to go for quite some time. Zamfara, Katsina, Kaduna, and so on. Some parents have withdrawn their children from school. I wonder what your thoughts are about this trend. What would be the possible consequences?
If you want to talk about the school, so you can go to the Ministry of Education, okay, and ask them what is the model to deploy a school. All the people they have given licenses to operate a school, where did you say your school will be located? Did they pass that through a security purview to say, no, that your location is not safe, you know, or your location you are going to present as your location for a school needs XYZ security considerations
at the
moment. Because you'll be doing a surveillance on such areas. So if you see that the security and the threat level in an area is high enough, you shut down the schools. Most people go to school online in different climes in the society. I know it's expensive, okay? If it's expensive,
life is
then
more expensive.
The government should also deploy protection once the threat level is high. You know, so if the protection of the government comes in, it can rebate on what the school is supposed to spend. And my pain and my grouse is this. Each of the schools we talk about, the parents work in banks and other secured environment. You drop your children in a place, you drive your car away, and you know that the child is your greatest asset, and you leave them there. Look at worship centers. Every worship center and every school have retired and serving personnel of agencies. So why can't you form a community and look at your vulnerabilities based on your location, threat by threat level, and begin to profile solutions? That is where the challenge is. If the government is not doing it, the agency personnel that are retired that can relate and say this is what we want. If it's not going to be possible, then you shut down that location, because people's life should be a priority.
I'm just going to quickly also ask you, maybe in the next 60 seconds, to quickly respond to these, what the ways forward are. But then I also want to ask you this, which of these is affecting the fight against insecurity most in the country? Corruption, bad leadership, poverty, unemployment?
Every other thing you have mentioned, corruption, poverty, unemployment, is caused by bad leadership. If the leadership is on board and on tune, in my company, if you call everybody, you didn't get them. If you call me, I'll pick. Even the lowest cleaner can call me 2 a.m., I'll pick. So if you are a leader on top of the game, then you are supposed to be able to notice who causes corruption, who is supposed to curb corruption opportunities. You are supposed to see the economy, profile solutions, and sit on the ball so that the solutions will be effective. You know, so leadership has been our problem in Nigeria and in Africa. And if we put the leadership straight, you know, the leadership will be able to correlate all the positives around the body and put them to work. So I beg you to say we should look at a better leadership that is up on doing, that can interrogate the international dynamics and bring solutions to our various problems.
Well, perhaps that's a good place to anchor our conversation with you this morning. Thank you so much, security consultant, Ambassador Dr. Roy Okhidievbie.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah.